is also the car that he won at Kansas last year, which is, we talked earlier, is a very similar racetrack to Las Vegas.
Ward Burton just ahead of that pack in 15th. Came from a lap down, got his lap back when a caution flag flew, and now chases Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 14th place.
I noticed as Todd Bodine went by, we saw him make contact with Kenny Schrader. The right front fender on Todd's car is all wadded back up under the car too, so he's got some aerodynamic problems.
.77 laps to go. Tony Stewart has now led 3 times for 48 laps, and he leads by 3.8 seconds over Sterling Marlin.
Next to racing, that's my next favorite sport, college basketball. Hey, Larry, what do you think these guys are talking about, huh?
Well, they're talking about when they want to pit, DW. We're on lap 194. A lot of the leaders, and this, of course, this is Mark Conquest in the green and white uniform. That's the 18 and 20. Looks over their engine program. They're talking about when they want to pit. Most of these guys, which include Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart, they were in on lap 139. They're going to be in the pits within about 8 to 10 laps. But the real strategy, I love strategy, especially when I can talk about it and formulate it, is a lot of cars, which would include especially Jimmy Johnson in that 48, Jeremy Mayfield in that 19. They pitted on lap 155, so they can go another 10 laps. And we saw what happened earlier when that can happen. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Larry, you mentioned that Chris Woodward and Mark Cronquist were talking earlier. Woody, what's it look like?
It's going to be close. You're looking at probably a lap shy, maybe.
Remember, this team finished second here 2 years ago. Stewart looking for that big, no full $5 million bonus.
What he means by a lap shy, again, these guys were in the pits on lap 139. That's 128 laps to go. That means you have to run 2 64-lap runs. But when that caution was out on lap 139, they had 5 laps of caution, and that buys you another couple extra laps, because a caution lap, 2 green laps is like a caution lap. And so you buy a little bit of extra fuel under caution. So that's what they're calculating so hard.
Stewart the leader, Marlin, Busch, Newman, and Joe Nemechek, who, like Todd Bodine, has no sponsor after this weekend. In fact, Nemechek, no sponsor here this weekend. Jeannie?
No sponsor and a low-maintenance car, guys. Most of the day, just minor tire pressure adjustments. He has been complaining as he's made this run here that these tires stink. This is the car that he won at Watkins Glen with, and he'd like to take these tires and kick them back there. He's waiting for a caution to get back in there to make the change, but they are pleased with how the afternoon's going.
And that don't mean the tires smell bad. They're just not gripping the racetrack like he'd like.
Jimmy Johnson, one of 2 rookies in the top half dozen and one of 3 drivers in the top 6 positions who have not won in Winston Cup racing, but boy, are they so close.
And Larry, I always contend, Goodyear doesn't make a bad tire, in my opinion. We just do bad things to them. We mess around with them with the air pressure and whatnot, and I think we're guilty of messing up the tires, not Goodyear.
Well, things have become so critical. 1 pound of air pressure change, 1 pound could be like changing spring rate 20 or 25 pounds.
Well, we heard early in the race, Spencer's leading the race, and they said, they made a change on his car, took some air out of the right front tire, and he got so loose he couldn't get in the corner. They took 1 pound out.
That made his tires stink.
That's right. He didn't like his tires either. You got to have happy tires.
We'll see if they can bolt on some happy ones when we come back and cover pit stops. .64 laps to go. Larry, if you stop now, maybe you could make it all the way, and Stewart is going to do just that.
He is stopping right now. It's going to be close. We heard him say he's going to be close, maybe a lap shy. He had slowed the car down, trying to conserve fuel. He comes to pit road with 63 laps to go. It's going to be close. Matt Yoakum.
And Larry, this stop could be worth $1 million for his Home Depot crew. They kept telling Tony lap after lap, float it in, get out of the gas earlier. Zippy told him, you got to help me out on fuel. We're probably about half a lap shy, but you never know as Stewart hits his marks here for what could be his final stop. Jeff Gooch Patterson puts up the big first can, grabs the second as little Mikey Lingerfeld comes around to the left side on this 20 car. Shaggy throws the second can. Stewart has never won a Noble 5, and he's long gone, Steve Burns.
Well, Matt, team manager Tony Glover was worried that Sterling may run out of gas, but luckily he made it in here. This is the big stop. Clay Robinson on the front tires, Nate Cannon on the back. The jack man is Greg Posey, Jerry Swites on the gas. No chassis adjustments on that number 40 Dodge of Sterling Marlin, and he is away.
Ricky Rudd and Jimmy Spencer stop. Jerry Nadeau, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Burton is in. Kurt Busch comes in.
And let me tell you, a driver, they're doing the right thing. They're not waiting until 15, 20 laps to go and say, hey, we need another lap. You got to let that driver know way in advance so he can start thinking about that, because he can save you. A driver can get you a couple, 3 extra laps if he knows it in time.
Kurt Busch pits as the leader. Dick Bertrand.
And Sean Parker went to each and every one of these crew members and yelled into his helmet exactly what he wanted him to do, especially with the fuel man, Doug Newell. He said, get it full, get it full. He told him twice, and he yelled loud enough I could hear him about 10 feet away. They want to make sure they can go all the way to end. This guy is still a contender.
Good news for the 26 of Joe Nemechek as he gets those 4 tires. And Larry Mack, I'm never one to second guess you, but these tires do stink, as in smell. And they also were stinking it up on the track, so he's happy to get those. Almost stalled the car out, but they were able to take off.
Ryan Newman, Rusty Wallace, Rick Mast, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon making pit stops.
Joe Nemechek in the 26 cost himself a little bit of time here as he was getting ready to leave the pits. DW, this is easy to happen.
This can happen. You're sitting there, you're anxious, you want to get going. You think you got it in first gear, and guess what?
You have it in reverse. These are regular 4-speed transmissions with a reverse. You have to have reverse, and it has to work.
So he's sitting there juking around, he gets it in reverse and doesn't know it.
And look who our leader is. Jimmy Johnson has taken the lead.
And remember, he can run probably another 10 or 12 laps because he pitted about 10 or 12 laps off the other leaders a little bit later.
Fuel is not a problem for him. And the other good news for him is he's going to end up with the best tires at the end of the run.
We're going to pit 2 laps. Keep digging.
Keep digging, baby.
2 laps.
2 more laps, keep digging.
Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon complete pit stops and come back out.
What Jimmy Johnson would love to see in those 2 laps is Tony Stewart, the 20 car, comes up on him in a hurry with those 4 fresh tires. He'd love to see a caution in these 2 laps, but Tony wants to get by him because that will actually put Tony back on the lead lap.
Yeah, Tony wouldn't mind seeing get by him right here and see a caution himself, because that would put a lot of cars between he and Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, they take him 3 wide. Jimmy Johnson tried to use the one of Kenny Wallace as a pick, and Tony just drove under both of them.
Hard to do with 60-something lap tires versus 4 fresh tires.
Kenny Wallace did a good job. It's when you always tell the drivers, when you get run up on like that, hold your line. Don't try to move. Don't go one way or the other. Hold your line. Everybody will find their way around you.
Dave Blaney and Buckshot Jones making pit stops. Mayfield comes onto pit road as well, and Dale Jarrett. Now Joe Nemechek getting past as you see Jarrett's pit stop.
Something's wrong with it. The 26 car heard him go by then. It's got a cylinder down.
Steve?
Like him in the 88, Dale Jarrett got right side tires, only adjustment, air pressure in the right front tire for Dale Jarrett. Left side tires on, and he's away.
Matt Kenseth making a stop under green as well.
Critical stop for all these teams because they know it could be their last time on pit road.
Now, Larry, if you're Jimmy Johnson and you don't have to come in for 10 laps, why bring him in now?
You know, I'm not going to run too far because I'm getting beat on these 4 fresh tires that everybody has. And I'd move myself into the top 10. If I don't have a good car, I'm going to stay out there and play the caution flag game.
You got to stay even with these guys. And all you got to stay even with is get the same tires they got.
Bill Elliott is in, Bobby Labonte and Todd Bodine on pit road, and here comes the leader.
Well, just to give you an example, Jimmy Johnson's last lap was 34.14. Tony Stewart's out there running 33.50s, over a half a second a lap. Genie Zelasco.
And Larry Mack, you are right. They think they have a great car, so why not come in and get the 4 tires? No adjustments are planned because this car has been running great. Of course, he's going to take some fuel as well. And ironically, as we just saw Jimmy Johnson go 3 wide about a lap or 2 back, he was just told, look, keep the fenders clean. We do have a great car, and this is our race.
Got a problem on the right front there. Had to put that lug nut back on. Again, costly time on pit road.
John Andretti in the pits, so is Stacy Compton, and Joe Nemechek is back up to speed. Might have been an ignition box, we're told, and Nemechek switches over to the redundant backup system, and he is back up to speed. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. becomes the leader. It's the first time he has led today.
And he, along with Jimmy Johnson, was one of those cars that pitted on lap 155. He's playing the caution flag game. Darrell, he don't have as good a car as Jimmy Johnson.
Nope.
Stay out there and let's see if we can get us a caution flag.
Everybody has a different strategy. If you're good, you got to do one thing. If you're not, you got to think another way.
You race your race when you don't have a good race car.
That's right. You try to figure out how am I going to capitalize.
Here he comes into the pits. Kevin Harvick is in. Casey Atwood is also pitted.
Look at the front mainland.
Tony Eury Jr. on the front tires of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. They will make a chassis adjustment. Right side tires on. Eury to the left side. Jack underneath. Left side tires going on for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And they did make a chassis adjustment to the right rear of that car. Let's go to Jeannie.
An update on the 26 guys. The engine has a bad miss, but they're going to try and ride it out.
Thanks, Jeannie. Terry Labonte, Kenny Wallace making pit stops. Brett Bodine, who has a one-race sponsor.
Kyle Petty leading the race. He got so excited he almost missed pit road.
That's the best entrance to pit road I've seen other than Sterling's. I thought his was pretty cool. But Kyle really shot that thing on pit road, and he was leading the race.
First time he's led the race since Atlanta in November.
That'll pump you up. Led the race under green.
Now Ward Burton in the 22 car. Ward's big adventures continues. He's now leading the race after being a lap down, and he too pitted on lap 155.
We saw he and his brother have a whale of a race here a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Matt?
A little Stephen Patsavoris already pulled off the tearaway off the windshield to help Kyle's visibility. They are going to make an adjustment on this 45 car. He came in the leader. He started 11th, hoping to turn around this 45 team, and especially it's been a big help with Robin Pepperton coming on board, guys.
Jeff Green makes a stop. Kyle is the 12th different leader of the day. 18 lead changes.
Larry, maybe you know the answer. Maybe Matt does. Where is Robin? Is he in the pits? Is he spotted? Where's he at today?
What I've seen him is he will roam around during the race. You know, he'll work between the 3 teams, kind of talking about air pressure setup, fuel mileage, things of that nature.
Ward Burton is our leader at 217 laps. Tony Stewart has the 2nd spot. Sterling Marlin is 3rd. Ryan Newman and Hut Strickland are the top 5 here in Las Vegas on Fox. Tony Stewart leading the race and leading our Koch family of drivers in this event. Jeff Burton also in the top 10. Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, Bill Elliott among those in the top 20. Kyle Petty after his stop, 25th among the Koch family of drivers in today's race. Tony Stewart 0.8 of a second up on Sterling Marlin. Now that we have cycled through pit stops, Johnny Benson ran out of gas and did make a stop.
And Johnny ran out of gas after going 62 laps on fuels. I've been sitting here, I've been wearing this pin out.
You'll run out of gas if you go that far.
Well, the thing about it, what the 20 car, Greg Cimpadelli and that group, they're figuring out, okay, what does our mileage look like? That's the sad part about it. You don't know what your mileage actually is from each stop till you leave the pits and you're already fueled and you've committed to make this run. But just listen to these mileage numbers. He pitted on lap 2.
Exactly. Last year, these guys were pulling their hair out.
One car against the wall, turn 2, Shauna Robinson, but continues. Got way up in the loose stuff. I'm not sure if she did hit the wall.
So you get up there and pick that sand and rubber and stuff up on these hot tires, and you have no control. You just have to kind of let it run up there and hope it doesn't hit it.
Jimmy Johnson slices through the middle of Schrader and Jimmy Spencer.
It's a battle for 6 right here. Casey Atwood in the 7. He's a lap down. Jimmy Spencer in the 41. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Battling for position.
Ricky Craven just made a pit stop, but that was a scheduled stop. He was off cycle due to an unscheduled stop earlier for a flat tire. Jimmy Johnson makes the pass on Spencer. Move him up to 6th on the leaderboard behind Tony Stewart. Sterling Marlin, Ryan Newman.